What's going on YouTube? OCD for EDC here. And what I got for your face balls today, we're going to be talking about this little guy right here. This is the brand new prototype from Ochs Worx. This is Mr. Eric Ochs. You may remember him from designs like the Orca that was sold kind of primarily through Massdrop. I think he did some customs of that. He's also got several other models with CRKT. He's been around the knife community for quite some time and has several really cool designs. But this is his brand new one. This is the Ochs Worx Osprey EDX, and this one here is made by Riot, but an Eric Ochs design. And we're going to get into it and talk about it a little bit. Real quick, I did talk to Mr. Eric Ochs, and seems like a wonderful guy. Had a really nice conversation with him on the phone, and we talked about changes to the knife and what's going on. This order has currently been placed. It has not shipped yet, but it's not terribly far off. I think a couple months, something like that. And real quick, I'll put a link up in the description, but for his website. But you can still get in on the pre-order. He's got a large order, but he's dropping them kind of in small batches on his website. So there's actually going to be a drop of this particular knife later this week. I don't know exactly when, but I think it's safe to say, at the end of the week, Friday, maybe Saturday. I'm not really sure, but this week you can get in on the pre-order. Now, the way he's doing the pre-order is basically you put a deposit of about 50% down, and then you pay the other 50% when the knife comes in. Cost on these start at $330. And like I said, they are Riot made, which is really, really cool. This is the pouch. I think the pouch will be just like this, but I'm pretty sure he told me it was going to be black. So there might be a color change in the pouch, but it will say Ochs Worx on it like this. You will also get a large microfiber cloth, which is really cool. And, it's instead of one of those little chintzy cloths that most knives come with, this is an actual, large, real deal cleaning cloth, which is really cool. And then it's going to come in a white box like this. Most likely we'll have stickers on it and that sort of thing. So there you go. That's what you get for the packaging. Let's get into the knife. So here it is, and I'll just give you a quick little look over the whole thing, and then we're going to talk about it. So this was sent to me by Lefty EDC. If you haven't already, check out his video. I think it was posted a week ago or so, something like that. But he had some interesting things to say about this knife, and I do as well. So right off the bat, I love the design and the look of this. In my opinion, this is like kind of race car lines. It's a very elongated knife, relatively small, not very tall. When I was talking to Eric, he said that his custom that he builds is a little bit taller, blades a little bit broader, and just overall it's a larger, thicker knife. This one's a little more EDC friendly, But yeah, so I really like the lines on this, the swedge up front, just the aesthetics of this knife are very, very good. I like the inlay, and we're going to talk about that because it serves some functional purpose as well. But overall, it's just a really good looking knife. I just really like the aesthetics on this one, but the function on it is awesome as well. So that's really, really cool. Again, this is made by Riot, so if anyone's got familiar with Riot, the quality is going to be great. Now, when I received this, the pivot screw was a little bit tight, just a tiny bit, but it changed the action considerably. And it is a relatively light blade, but by loosening up the pivot just the tiniest amount, there's still absolutely zero blade play. This thing is rock solid. But now the blade is, the action is just much, much better. So that's really cool. There are going to be some changes on this knife, and we'll get into that in a moment. But real quick here, I'm going to give you an idea of the size of this thing. Let me change this over to standard measurements. So 3.236, so, but, 3¼ inch blade. Handle length on this guy is coming in at 4.16, so, not quite 7.5 inches overall. And handle thickness up in this bolster area, just under 1/2 inch at 0.465. Really, really nice size, and I think for most people, they're really going to like this. Now, the hollow grind on this blade, blade stock here is an 1/8 inch, 0.124, and behind the edge thickness, this thing comes down, if I remember correctly, we're looking at like 15 thousandths behind the edge, and it's a beautiful hollow grind, and that's fantastic. You guys know me. I like thin, slicey blades, and 1/8 inch blade stock. It's good. Certainly I wouldn't go any heavier than that. But this isn't really a knife that you're going to take out and be beaten on and carry. I mean, you certainly could. There's nothing wrong with it, but even if it had like 100 thousandths or 90 thousandths blade stock, that would be more preferable to me, especially in a small-ish package like this. So anyway, but I'm happy to see 15 thousandths behind the edge is better than most. The hollow grind is beautiful, so I really, really dig that. And so overall, I'll throw out a couple other knives here for some size comparison. Here's my wife's Para 3 lightweight, so very, very similar there. And this is, again, my wife's mini bug out. So you can get an idea of the size. And then, this thing fares, it's going to be very similar to like the Kaiser Assassin, which is a very, very similar, 3¼ inch blade, 7.5 overall kind of knife, slim carry, titanium. This thing's got, my fingers on the lock bar. Good Lord. That's what my problem is with most of these small knives. My fat ass hands, I can't keep from putting pressure on the lock bar. So anyway, with the Osprey, it is a bolster lock. So that helps considerably. Real quick, if you guys haven't checked out the CME, go check out our website, ocd4edc.com. You can pick yourself up a CME. This one happens to be Purple C-Tech. But makes your experience with a compression lock that much better and more enjoyable. So there you go. Back to the Osprey. The bolster lock, is great functionally, whether you're right or left-handed. It just makes all the difference in the world, having areas to grab a hold of the knife and not put pressure on the lock bar. And that's awesome. The flipper on this is more of a push button kind of a situation, but it works beautifully. And then we've got a small fuller here, and it does have some kind of squared edges, so you can get a hold of it. This works awesome for non-knife people. If you hand this knife to someone that's a non-knife person, for us, we look at flippers like it's no big deal. Just push the flipper. But non-knife people don't instinctively go for that, and so non-knife people instinctively go to pinch the blade open, and this kind of forces your fingers to this area because there really is no blade to grab a hold of here. I mean, you can touch the blade here, but you can't really pinch it, so you can only go here. Oh good Lord, I dropped it. So it works beautifully to pinch that open. So I really like that feature because it just works great for non-knife people, I mean, how many times have you handed your knife to someone that's a non-knife person and you have to show them how to open it? And this is not that way, but you can also do that. And you can, quote unquote, spidey flick it. Someone with a little bit smaller fingers than myself will be able to get in there even easier. There's not a ton of space, as you can see, but it is totally doable and works extremely well. And that part is, there we go, fantastic. So I really, really love that about the knife. The other thing is the pocket clip. The pocket clip is, on this particular one, this one here is a prototype model. It's got a little bit of an issue. The screw was a little bit too short. The threads were not correct. The blind hole in the clip was a little too large. And so the threads ended up getting stripped out of this clip, as you can see right there. That's unfortunate, but again, this is a prototype. This is why you do these things. So you can see there the one screw that runs all the way through. We do have a filler tab on this side, which they did beautifully. So this clip is reversible, which is fantastic. You can see here it's a blind hole, so, you know, kind of appears as if it's hidden hardware from the other side. But overall, you know, this clip, or the screw could have been like another like 14.5 millimeter, and as it stands, it's 13 millimeters long. So it just barely went into the clip, and it was, you know, at that point, like I said, the hole's too large, so the threads were too small. So it's a whole thing. But just know that that will be fixed on the production version. Now, other things that will be addressed and fixed on the production version, the clip is actually going to be about 20 thousandths higher off the knife, which gives you just a little bit more space for pocket material, you know, your pant material under the clip. They're also going to thin out the center portion of the clip to give it a little bit more flex. This clip was a little too stiff. And they're going to increase the ramp and make it a longer ramp on the front side, just making it easier to get into the pocket. So all of those are really positive changes. The flipper tab, the shape of the flipper is going to change very slightly. The jimping on it is going to change very slightly. I don't imagine it'll be anything crazy. They're just very, very minor changes to the flipper tab. So, you know, overall, and the one kind of significant change is that the production models will be a belt satin finish. It'll be a two-way. So, you know, in the grind, you'll have vertical satin grind lines, and then on the flats, it'll go horizontal, if you will, if you're holding in that orientation. So, you know, pretty traditional stuff, just the, you know, Riot's typical belt satin finish. But you can see the checker pattern here on the titanium is beautiful. It's not too aggressive. It just provides meaningful traction, which is awesome. And the inlays, you can see that they curve around the edge of the knife. And this is fantastic because it makes this knife have really, really good grip in hand and feel very secure without, you know, crazy jimping and stuff that'll tear up your gloves and or hands. It just gives you that, you know, extra bit of traction right here that's just fantastic. You know, if that were just tumbled or blasted tie, it wouldn't provide that level of traction. And I love the fact that it goes around the edge because it just softens that edge to a point where it's just incredibly comfortable. Right or left-handed, clip on either side. This thing is great in hand. Like I said, someone that has even a smaller hand than myself, this will be even better. So yeah, it's a really, really great design that I think is going to work across the board for a lot of people. And I really like the aesthetics of it. You know, that's a subjective thing, but me personally, I think the aesthetics are fantastic. I like the checkering bolsters. I like the inlay. Now, there are a couple different inlay options. So this is called Slate Blue G10. There is also a OD Green micarta inlay, as well as a standard weave carbon fiber. And there is a little price difference in depending on which inlay you get. Blade steel on this is M390, pretty standard fare for a Riot build. But guys, this one's great. It really is. Like I said, it's a great looking design in my opinion, but it functions really well. And so, you know, it's a sexy knife, but still going to get the job done. And I mean, what more can you ask for? You got multiple opening methods, deployment methods here. You know, you can Spidey flick it, which is really cool. You got a reversible clip. It's a bolster lock, which definitely, you know, functionally it's a frame lock, but having this portion covered up by the inlay, you know, if you could move this up just a little bit further and bring that inlay up into basically where that checker pattern stops, move the checker pattern, I would like that even more, just given a smaller area where you know, to avoid, if you will. But hey, you know, I'm really kind of nitpicking at that point. These are just kind of wants. I mean, this knife is fantastic, and I definitely am gonna get one of these on order for sure. It's just a really, really cool model, and yeah, I really like it. And after talking to Eric on the phone, he's, you know, just seemed like a fantastic guy and a guy that I would definitely like to support. So anyway, guys, like I said, I'll throw a link up in the description. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Take a look at this thing. It's a really cool little knife, pretty small, going to be really slim in the pocket, and I think this one's going to appeal to a tremendous number of people. It's definitely a good one for sure. So there you go, guys. That's my look at the Ochs Worx Osprey EDX. Check it out. I'm going.